Welcome back to Chuck's Corner. I am Vic Jagger, radio personality here at Urban One. And with me is the man of the hour, Chuck Bishop, who is the head of Wells Fargo Customer Growth Segments. Hello, good morning. Welcome back.
Hey, Vic, it's good to be back. Good to be
We're
with you in
back.
studio.
Yes, and we're talking about home buying. We've been talking about home buying. We've been given so many gems and information about the home buying process and what people can expect throughout that process. And we're going to talk about some of those things today. But right now, we're talking about the benefits of collaborating with a realtor, which is so important, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. I tell you, if you try to navigate this process by yourself, you'll get confused, overwhelmed, and a realtor is really there to help you through that process. So can you talk about why it's great to collaborate with a realtor and where should people start?
Yeah, exactly right. The real estate agent is probably one of the most critical relationships through the mortgage process.
Yeah.
The mortgage process takes a little while. You need to work with a professional that's going to be there by your side and your partner through this whole transaction. So let's talk about a little bit about kind of what the agent does for you.
Yeah.
There will be agents representing the buyer and the seller. And sometimes that is the same agent because the agent that listed the property could be the same agent that sells the property.
Mm-hmm.
What's really important is to understand you do need a real estate agent. The agent will help you navigate the landscape and environment of the forms, the regulatory documents, the reports. There will be a bunch of financial documents also. The real estate agent will explain to you and help you understand what all of those mean and why they're there. Most of these documents are there for the benefit of the consumer and their protection. Some are there for the financial transaction. But the real estate agent understands those documents and can help you be comfortable with understanding the commitment you're about to make. The agent also, a good agent is going to really know your market.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know neighborhoods, but our real estate agent knows the greater community. That real estate agent will help you understand what's going on in certain markets where you might find better values, where you might find other opportunities, where you might find specific programs. And lastly, kind of in the real estate business as well as the mortgage business, we speak a different language. They may say things like MLS and LTV, and you're going to go,
We're like, huh?
What does that mean? But the agents have all of that vernacular down, but they will help you understand. So, for instance, the MLS is the multiple listing service. The agents have access to that. That is a service that provides you with all the current information on homes for sale. I remember the last time I looked for a house and I was looking at Zillow and I called my agent and said, hey, I saw this house on Zillow. I really want to take a look. She goes, that house was sold like 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
So there are times when some of the online services don't have the most accurate, up-to-date information.
Right.
The real estate agent will help you understand what's going on today and currently, and they also might be able to help you understand what's coming because there's like a coming soon category that agents will have available that may not have hit some of the national self-service real estate services per se.
Yeah, and the relationships that they have, whether it's with other real estate agents or within the community, and they're going to go out and make sure these homes are what you want. So you can give a long list. I remember my real estate agent, when I first bought my home, she was like, okay, what are your must-haves? What are the things that you absolutely have to have non-negotiable? And then there were some things where it was like, okay, I might be able to leaning on this. And then they get you as close as possible to, your dream home. Right. And so can you talk about more of the role of an agent when you're going through that process? So now you've chosen your home and it's like, okay, can I just sign for it? No, there are some steps that has to go within that in communicating with, the selling agent as well, if there is one.
Yeah, the agent will help you navigate that whole process. They will also help you understand your search opportunities. Now, what's really important is when you pick an agent, pick one that you feel comfortable with. Pick one that you feel a certain vibe and a certain energy. You might even want to have a consultation with the agent, give them an idea of what you're looking for, and have them send you some properties that you can look at virtually first. Because maybe you'll see, well, that's not quite what I was looking for. So it eliminates both of you saving some time, jumping in the car, going and looking at homes that don't fit your need. If you and your agent aren't communicating, understanding, that's going to be important. You also you also have to make some tough decisions maybe in that process. What you actually want in your price range may not be what's available. And
Mhm.
then you have to make that decision with your agent. Should I look either outside of a certain geographic community, or might I need to change my desires? So maybe that home won't have 3 bedrooms, maybe it'll have two, but there's space in the basement that could be converted to a bedroom. Maybe that works for me.
Yeah.
There are things that you and the agent can talk to help the agent understand what's really critical, and then help you get to a point where you can find the actual property that's your home. And remember, in this process, typically in your first home, it's not your dream home.
Yeah.
So your first home is typically a transition point, and not that you don't want it to meet your needs and your desires, but at the same time, it's probably not the place you're going to retire. So understand that transition
Yeah,
step,
yes. It's like,
and that's
what are
important.
you? What are some things you don't have to have like a really big porch when you have a backyard. That's a compromise. There are certain things that I know that you don't really necessarily need. And like you said, it may not be your dream home right away. But when you are explaining to someone who may be a first time home buyer, the relationship with the realtor. What if the communication is not there? What if they meet with that realtor and they're really not, feeling it? There was not really a connection. What would you tell them?
Um, be honest. The real estate transaction is an emotional opportunity. It's You're dealing with your money, you're dealing with your shelter. If you've got family, you're dealing with your family in their protected environment. So you're going to be emotional about it. Make sure that you go into it being really objective. Try to eliminate the emotion where possible. There will be times when maybe you and the agent just don't get along.
Mm,
That's a possibility. You can switch agents. What I like to tell people is look for referrals. Talk to people who've bought homes. Talk to people who are in your circle who have real estate agents or no real estate agents. The referral business is critical in the space because typically, in our circle, people,
mm,
we have like-minded individuals who think like us, and
yeah.
they will kind of know somebody in the business. We all know somebody that knows somebody, right? Whether that's the right person for us may or may not be the case, but looking for that referral is important. I've used the same agent now for the last, 2 or 3 transactions because we just get along, and I've referred her
Mhm.
to family because I like the way she works and how she handles the ease of it because I get
Yeah.
stressed over stuff. Even though I know what's going on, I get stressed, and she's
Not you.
well, I do, particularly with my money in my house. I do get a little
Yeah.
stressful, but she was the last house I bought. She was really helpful in helping me understanding that landscape, and actually showed me a property that wasn't even on the market yet, and we had the opportunity to make the first bid on it.
That's
But
awesome. Yeah.
so that's an advantage again. Um,
And so, what are some of the qualities that you would look for in a good real estate agent?
I like agents who one are confident.
Yeah.
I like experience. I
Mhm.
like those agents who really understand their business, but I like agents who don't try to tell me what I need or don't try to talk me into a certain space because it's their comfort zone. So
Mm,
if they focus on condos, don't try to sell me condos because that's your business and that's what you focus on. I really like an agent that listens. So you've got to find somebody who just listens to you, allows you to kind of go all over the place, and then brings it back. If that agent can bring you back to what your actual needs are and
yeah.
point you towards that, that's a good start. But you know, there are a lot of good agents out there. I work with a lot of good agents in the business I'm in. They're agents at most of the um, business locations in the city, whether it be the Chamber of Commerce or some other city council kind of activities.
Mhm.
Um, they're agents in and around, and those agents that are active in the community where you want to buy, participating in other organizations. They know more than just the real estate market. They know about the
Yeah.
community as a whole, and that's kind of the feedback you like to understand.
Absolutely. I agree with that, especially the listening part, because sometimes, a real estate agent can kind of say, oh, well, just kind of, like you said, tell you what you want because that's their comfort zone. But when you have someone that's actually listening to you and it comes up later on, but you said that
Yeah.
this, or you mentioned this, that's always a great feeling because it's like, oh, that aha moment, like, oh, yes, thank you for actually listening to me.
Think about it. The real estate agent is almost like the quarterback of the transaction.
Right.
That person's going to call all the plays. They're going to essentially project manage this whole process once you decided it's a go.
Mhm.
When you find the property, they're going to help you make an offer. They're going to help you make a qualified offer.
Yeah.
I'm going to be realistic. No agent wants you to make a crazy offer. If the house is going for 250 and you want to offer 150, the agent's going to go, really? Let's not do that.
Yeah.
It's likely going to get rejected. But no agent wants their name tied to a transaction that doesn't have a fighting chance to get approved, because they have credibility to worry about. But if you think about, the quarterback is also going to help you understand all the other vendors that are going to be necessary through this process.
Mhm.
You're going to have to pick a title company. You might have to pick a home insurance company for your property and casualty. You're going to have to pick a home warranty company.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pick
Even down to the
maybe
inspections
everything.
and,
That's right. And that's just for the buyer. On the seller side, the agent's going to help you get that property ready to show, because we all love our homes. We all
yes.
think we did a great job decorating. When the agent comes in and puts their eye on that home and goes,
Yeah.
we need to declutter. Let's
Yeah.
take some of this stuff out. Let's take some of these furniture out. Let's
Or
make
even
the
help
room
stage,
stage the
which is
home. You
which
might
is
have to
great.
spend some money to paint. You have to clean carpets and things like that.
Yeah.
So the agent will help both sides of this transaction, and they will very much lead and kind of orchestrate the whole process to help take some of the stress away from you. And hopefully that ends up being a sale, whether you're the purchaser or the buyer. It helps it end up at a sale that you're really happy with.
I love that. And when we were talking about preparing to even purchase a home or to buy a home, you have some tips on when you're planning for a big purchase. What are some things that you're not supposed to do? What are some things that you may want to pay attention to when you're even getting into the conversation of looking to buy?
Yeah, we talked about
We,
this some
we
time ago, and for those listeners who maybe didn't hear, or those who need a reminder,
yeah,
my slogan is find your money first. Everybody wants to go on a real estate site, find a home, and then call a real estate agent. The real estate agent's going to want you to be pre-approved.
that's
So
right.
get your money together first. Start well in advance of that first, and just monitor your own credit. Check your credit.
Mm,
Get the free credit reports that are out there, all three of them, and make sure there are no errors out there. Make sure
mm.
you understand what's on your credit report. I would say, stop using credit, and so you don't increase your debt ratios, and definitely don't take out new credit right before you go to buy a home. Put the car on hold until after the purchase and get comfortable
What? You
with your
can't
mortgage
buy a
payment.
shiny new car?
No, please don't, and please don't, and please
Please
don't
don't.
take out a bunch right before you buy. But again, find your money first. Make sure you're comfortable with that space, and then make sure you understand what you're getting into from a financial commitment, because there are things that on paper you can afford and qualify for, and there are things you can actually afford because you know your own spending habits.
Mm,
If you tend to do things that don't show on your credit report, i.e., maybe you like the casino, maybe you
mm.
spend a lot of money in eating out. If you think you're going to change your lifestyle to afford the house, I'd say that's a caution sign, because
Yeah.
we often are creatures of habit, and it's really tough to just change overnight because we have a new cost structure in the house. So make sure you really understand how do you live and how do you spend your money. Make sure that when you get into a mortgage, it's the right mortgage for you. And again, get pre-qualified. Your agent will help you find the right home. Understand also what programs are available for you. At Wells Fargo, we've got down payment assistance programs that are out there. We've got closing cost assistance programs that are out there. You can go to our website, Wells Fargo /mortgage education, and find out about how to qualify for a home. And we've got another website, Wells Fargo /come home, which has the ability for you to put in property addresses and understand whether down payment assistance is available for that address that you're thinking about buying. So there are many tools that are out there, but those tools don't replace the need to work with qualified professionals. You will need
Yes.
to work with the real estate agent, and you will need a loan officer at some point during this transaction.
And if someone is like, oh my gosh, I want to buy this home, I have financially, I'm in a pretty good place to start there. And I've started, changing my lifestyle, stopped eating out. I'm not going to make any big purchases, but I don't know where to go to start adjusting and fixing my credit. Is that something that a professional, whether, Wells Fargo or whether it's a real estate agent, can help out with if someone had questions about that?
Strongly encourage looking at the nonprofit sector for help in that space.
Mm.
We work with many entities. The National Federation for Credit Counseling is one.
Oh,
These
yes.
entities will work with you and help you prepare your credit for that purpose. The last thing you
Mm.
want to do is not be prepared and get denied. That's a really stressful situation. It's
Yeah.
it's 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 an emotional situation, particularly when you really think that home ownership is within reach. So work with one of the many nonprofit providers that are out there. They're on HUD's website. Also, they're HUD approved counseling agencies. They're objective. They don't get paid by a lender to send business there. They are objective providers of counseling information, debt management services, credit repair, and
Mm.
they will get you to a point where you're ready to buy, and then they can make referrals to a number of lenders that may be available to help you.
You have so much information, a wealth of knowledge, especially for home buyers. Is there anything that you would like for first time home buyers to really pay attention to, especially when they are choosing the right real estate agent in that process?
Things. One is pay attention to the realtor's attention to you.
Mm.
It's not they shouldn't be getting excited about them selling a house. They should be getting excited about your journey and your understanding of what it takes to get there. That's one thing. And second thing is, today's economic environment has many people probably sitting on the sidelines wondering, I'm not sure about my financial security. Maybe my job is a concern. Maybe the interest rates are a concern. Maybe home prices are a concern. There are a lot of potential challenges out there.
Yeah.
But if you're going to rent, you're paying somebody's mortgage.
Say
So
that again. Say that one more
that's right.
time
If you're
for.
renting, you're paying somebody's mortgage. It's
Okay.
landlord or private landlord. You're paying their real estate cost.
Yeah.
Pay your own. Pay yourself. It's never a bad time to be a first time home buyer. Your first home doesn't have to be your last home, doesn't have to be your dream home, and it likely won't be your only home. So I would tell people, anybody who's paying for shelter, consider home ownership. Make sure you talk to a nonprofit counseling agency. Make sure it's good for you. Make sure it's the right decision for you. Talk to a qualified mortgage professional. Make sure you qualify for a home. Get pre-approved. Talk to a real estate agent. Talk to a licensed real estate agent who's gone through
Yes.
the
That's
training and
important.
certifications that are necessary to represent you in their market, and then start that journey. It's not something that happens quickly. If you're thinking about buying next year, it's okay to start now. Start several months in advance. Whenever you prepare, you take the shock out of it. And minimizing some of that shock and some of those surprises is going to make this process a lot easier, because it's going to be stressful. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
You remember it.
I remember the first time it was very stressful. And, the information that I received, I was still so overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, all this paperwork. But my real estate agent really walked me through the process. And then the second time, when I was ready to buy, I had that knowledge. But then the agent was an agent for me and the seller. And so, to your point, sometimes the agent can represent both in that situation. And so that was a unique experience
Yeah.
as well. And so I learned so much from both times. And one thing that I will say is, after you purchase your home, when you get your home, just know that there are other expenses that come with that. Okay. I had my water heater leaking. My neighbor had termites that I had no idea. I was like, wait a minute. I wasn't expecting all this. This is a fairly new home. Like, what's going on? But these were expenses that I didn't foresee, but I was prepared. And so that's the best part about it,
That's
being
awesome.
prepared.
Yeah. And God bless my real estate agent. She made me purchase a home warranty, which I don't think I was considering at the time, and it's
Yes.
not that expensive, $600-700 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a problem with my HVAC within a year. The next year, I had hot water heater and garbage disposal, and fortunately, I paid just a service fee. Service fee.
The service fee. Let me tell you about my service fee. When you would talk about the garbage disposal, okay? I had somebody come out, pay my service fee, and he said, let me show you how to fix it next time. So you
Yeah.
won't have to. And it was this one little tool.
That's it. In the bottom of
Yes,
it,
and
you
you
turn it
turn
around.
it.
That's it.
And I was like, oh, okay. So, now I've kind of turned into a handy woman
Yeah,
around the
yeah,
house
yeah.
and fixing
Well, we
things.
learn when we see, right?
Yes.
Because anytime anybody fixes anything in my house, I'm right behind them looking over their
Yeah.
shoulder. They probably wish I'd back up, but I don't want to pay for repairs twice if I don't have to.
Right.
Homeownership does bring about a different perspective of expenses. So to your point, you're going to have moving expenses. You're going to have
Yeah.
you're going to want window treatments. Somehow Bray & Scarf or Home Depot and Lowe's and all these other places know you bought a home, and they're offering you this credit card
Yeah.
and come in and get new appliances and things like that. But then you're going to have to be prepared for repairs. I think the data shows that in the first 3 to 5 years, you're going to have to replace a major appliance if you're buying a used home. So just
Yeah.
understand the
Yeah.
stove, the refrigerator, something is going to go out in the first 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I
And
already
that's $800 or
replaced
$900
my
you gotta have.
washer and dryer. I really didn't want to give up my dryer,
Yeah.
but
But
I needed the set. So, but I was able to pass it to someone else, and so that was great. But you're right. You're there over the years. There has been like little things happening, and lucky for me, I have some licensed people
Nice.
around me
You got a
that
good
can
network.
okay. My
right.
uncle and them, you know how it is. And so
We all have those. We need those too.
we need
Yeah.
them. Yes, but these are things that I wasn't prepared for, but now I know. Now I know, and I'm ready. So give that website one more time, where our viewers and listeners can get more information about the home buying process, about the process after purchasing a home as well, and the resources that may be needed.
So wellsfargo.com/mortgage education is a site to go to get the basic first time home buyer information or home ownership information. Again, wellsfargo.com/mortgage education. And then if you are a little further in the process and you're interested to understand where we have assistance that's being provided, so where our down payment assistance works, you can go to wellsfargo.com/come home.
Oh,
So that's
come on home.
Come on home
Come
and
on
let us
home.
help you get there with our down payment assistance.
Yes.
But again, we provide a variety of tools and resources that are out there. I mentioned nonprofits also.
Yes.
But understand that you will need to have professional partnership to this process. Again, the real estate agent, the home buyer counselor, and your loan officer will be there to help you. And just don't be afraid to get started. It's a journey.
That's
Understand that it's going to be work, but have good partners with you, and they'll make it palatable at least.
Yes. Start where you are
That's it.
and work from there.
Agreed.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Chuck Bishop. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the next one. Of course, we're going to give more information about the home buying process, before, after, in between, and all the things that everyone needs to know about it. And you are the man for that. So
We'll keep
thank
this
you so
going. I look
much.
forward to it, Vic. Thank you for the time today.
Appreciate you.
It's great to be in studio.